Thank you, Sister Ratna, for the lovely introductions. And good morning, brothers and sisters. Yeah, thank you for coming for this lovely Sunday. Okay, initially I thought it will be a smaller group, but I think, yeah, it's quite big. Now I feel like I'm facing a classroom already. Okay, so before we begin our sharing and we have a little bit of activities, let's do a little bit of meditation here. Okay. Um, For a more serious guidance, you can join Brother Tan's session next week. I think he will be focusing on the Anapanasati, which is a very thorough method taught by the Buddha. For me, I will just do a very so-called like a preliminary introduction to it. So let's just center ourselves to the present moment. And later on, we will feel how it's like when we just be aware of our breath. So let's begin by being aware of where we are. Have a sense of awareness of the room that we are in. We are seated at the Dhamma hall. We are seated on the nice cushion. And behind this cushion, there's a group of volunteers who have prepared it for us. So that when we just come to the room, we can immediately enjoy sitting at a comfortable place. Let's be grateful to the cushion who support us, as well as the people and all beings behind the scene who have prepared it for us. Also feel the cool aircon in this room, which I believe if we are not inside this building, we may have different experience with the temperature outside. Same as the cushion, we can enjoy this nice aircon also due to a lot of effort put in by countless beings. Imagine aircon require electricity. Electricity require money to pay. Where the money come from? So let's be grateful to our office staff who also maintain the facility very well to ensure that it all's running comfortably today. And let's thank all the members. Without them, without their dana, without their generosity, we won't be able to have operational fund to run all this. Let's be thankful for the opportunity we can sit in here comfortably. So this is definitely something that is not to be taken for granted. But we thank countless beings who have made it possible. With this sense of gratitude, enjoy the warmness in our heart while we count our blessings. This warm feeling helps us to settle in the present. And let's enjoy the present moment. No need to worry about right or wrong. Just enjoy. Do nothing. Just enjoy Just feel. Feel our body is getting more relaxed and relaxed. Feel our mind is getting calmer and calmer. And at this point in time, you may start to notice our breathing, our breath. Let's be thankful to our lung who keep pumping the oxygen, who enable the breathing process to take place without rest at all. How often we count the blessings of having a good lung? How often we take things for granted? Our breathing is possible because of various factors as well as countless of causes. So let's just be thankful and enjoy our breath. In a while, we are going to emerge from our rest. Let's do the last 3 breaths. At the end of the third one, you can slowly open your eyes. Okay, you can slowly adjust to the lightning, right? Because just now we closed our eyes for about 10 minutes. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the sessions. Okay, yeah, for those who just come, feel free to take a seat. Okay, I choose the topics about the most challenging exams, not because I'm a teacher. Yeah, but I think at some point in time we will have to take exams, right? So I'm just wondering, how long ago you took your last exams? Okay, I think there are some who are in school. I believe you just recently took exams, right? Your WA, then after that, last year's your year-end exams in school, if you have. Yeah, I think for many of us, maybe like several years ago, right? Or many years ago even. Okay, so I cannot talk about exam without simulating an exams, right? So I will do an exam now. Can I invite you to take out your phone? Yeah, I think all the young one will know Kahoots. Yeah, we take exams, yeah. Very short, I promise. Only 10 questions. Yeah, so I invite you to go into kahoot.it, right? So just type in kahoot.it. Okay, then I will go to the website to run the Kahoot. Okay, you should see this kind of so-called like a screenshot, right? I will start the game. We'll wait for the loading of the game pin. So you watch out, the game pin is out. Yeah, so you can type in the game pin. Those who miss out the link, don't worry. The link is also put it up there. Yeah, I'll wait for people to join. Wow, 25 people. I think you are all very well versed in playing Kahoot. Okay, maybe I'll wait a while more. Yeah, usually there's a sound, but I don't know. Today there's no audio. So are we okay to start? Yes. Okay, the questions, just let you know first the scope. Normally when we announce exam, we cannot just announce it without telling you what will be tested, right? So inside will be a bit about BF as well as the Dhamma in general, okay? Yeah, so I think if you've been here for Sunday service, I think you should be able to answer the questions. Okay, 32. Are there any people who are still joining? Okay, okay to start now? Yes, okay, great. I will start now. Okay, every question is 20 seconds. Ready? Yeah, read the questions carefully. Yeah, press the color. Kids, be careful, you are looking answer. Tricky, Wow, the answer is Labrador Park. Yeah, that one is the nearest to us. Okay, next. Oh, we'll see first. Wow, okay. These are the top five. Accuracy as well as the fastest. Okay, so the faster you are, actually you get a better score. Yeah, the speaker of Sunday service on BF. Just now Sister Ratna announced it, so she couldn't get wrong. 2nd of March. Yeah, the answer is 𝐿𝐿𝐵𝒂𝒂. Wow, okay. I think about 80% and above got it right. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, okay, ready for the third questions? You know Brother Vincent, right? This is just true or false. True or false? Is he the present BF Vice President? Oh, I think he has a very vice president vibe. He was the past vice president. Yeah, he's not a vice president at the moment. Yeah, but in future, who knows? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Now the scoreboard changed a little bit. Okay, we go to the content of Dharma here. Okay, which one is not the one of the three categories in Noble Eightfold Path? Yeah, the answer is puja. Wow, 90% correct. Yes. So you all pay attention. Very good. Okay, now which one is not one of the three characteristics of existence? I think Sunday school kids should know the answer. Yeah, wow. Okay, 28 got correct. Yeah. So the one is not correct is the Maya illusion. Okay, that's not one of the characteristics of existence. Okay, now what's the importance of spiritual friendship, kalyamamittas? Okay, I think, yeah, the screen. Cannot see, Okay, the red one, isolating oneself for intense solitary practice. Oh, almost done. Yeah, the answer is the number 10. Kalyamamittas means associating with the wise, right, who support one's spiritual growth. Okay, four more questions. Okay, which Noble Eightfold Path that address the abandonment of unwholesome mental states? Is it right speech, right effort, right mindfulness, or right view? Yeah, the answer is right effort. Wow, I think many of us put right mindfulness. Yeah, mindfulness just being aware, right? So this is about the effort. Yeah, right effort to abandon unwholesome mental state and cultivate wholesome mental state. Okay, now what's the non-self implies? There's no such thing as individual consciousness for red one. Blue one, the permanent unchanging self we perceive is ultimately an illusion. Yellow one, rebirth doesn't occur as there's no self to be reborn. Or green one, all living beings are fundamentally interconnected as one single self. Yes, the blue one, correct. Yeah, that we perceive permanent self as illusion. Okay. Okay, last two questions. Right livelihood, what does it mean? Against engaging profession that require physical labor and poorly compensated, do not directly contribute to charitable causes, lead to excessive accumulation of wealth, or involve the harm of exploitation of other beings. Yes, the last one, correct. So that's the right livelihood. So we don't harm our other beings and we don't harm ourselves. Okay. Wow, who is Ning? Oh, okay, great, 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 great. You are number one. Okay, last one. Last question. Last chance. Which of the following is the key benefit with the practice of loving kindness meditation? Increased intellectual understanding of Buddhist philosophy, cultivation of goodwill and compassion towards oneself and others, development of psychic abilities, or complete detachment from all emotional experience. Wow, okay, almost all got correct. Yeah, cultivation of goodwill and compassion towards oneself and others. Okay, so these are the top three scorers. Okay, number three is YY. Who's YY? Oh, okay, congratulations. Second place, Ang KYY. Okay, maybe a bit shy. and Ning number one. Okay, so let's give them a round of applause here. Yeah, and round of applause for everyone for passing the exam. Huh? Okay, so still hold your phone, right? I invite you to go here. I invite you to go to this class point, right? So you just type www.classpoint.app. Okay, and then you key in the code on top at the corner. 30617, right? Yeah, okay, I saw people joining in. 77, is it? Yeah, 77 at the back. Okay. Okay, I give you maybe half a minute just to. Yeah, we tap on the power of community. So if let's say people next to you have any problem and you can join already, you just help them. Just type in www.classpoint.app and then key in the code. Okay, I saw 27 joiner. Okay, good. Maybe I'll wait for another 10 seconds, then I will move on, okay? You can continue joining in. The code will be displayed throughout. Okay. For those who are done, right, can you just type in here, right? What feeling did you experience when doing the BF Sunday Service exams? Hold on, I cannot. Sorry, I got a technical issue here. I can't type in here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the biggest font is actually fun, huh? So you enjoy the exams. But there's nervous, there's strong sense of self, yeah, because we are competing, right? Challenging, yes, adrenaline, okay, self-awareness, given up, anxiety, excited, yeah, stress, happy, warm, nervous, challenging. Yeah, so you notice that when you conduct exam, I think everyone's experience are different, right? When we do it in this manner, probably it induce some fun, yeah, but also there's a problem with the stress, okay? Because I think we will wondering what happened if we fail. Okay, thank you for your sharing here, right? I will close the submission here. Okay, I will award stars to you all. Yeah, I will insert here. Okay, so thank you for that. So when we begin now, maybe you can share with us what's one exam that you find it very challenging and why, right? That you have experienced before. A job interview, okay. Uni exams, applying for uni, life, or life itself is an exam. Kids exam, yeah, life exam, uni finals, A level, okay, job interview, uni final, uni exam, language, Management accounting, uni, okay. Job interview, submitting proposal, uni exam, okay. Wow, A level, too much to memorize. Language, Chinese spelling, English spelling, graduation speech. Is it an exam? Working. Oh, 𝐹𝑒𝑐𝑡𝑠 is a national exam in Indonesia, right? Yeah, client presentations, uni exam, public speaking, Chinese speaking, A levels, university exams. Okay, from all your sharing here, seems like the most common one is really the school exams. Yeah, thermodynamic exams. Okay. Okay. Worries, I think is okay. I think something more subtle, right? Not the physical exam, but can be worries. Okay, maybe I will close the submission so we can move on. Okay, I will close. I will award start again. Yeah, I will insert as a slide here. Okay, so yes. So thank you. I think generally the most one is actually a school exam. All right. Yeah, I want to share, I think, two of the challenging exam I have. So I think a bit similar to what you guys shared, right? My first number one exam that I find it very challenging is the National University Entrance Exams. Okay, let me give you a context first. I grew up in Indonesia, right? So for the first 22 years of my life, okay, so basically my whole K-12 education as well as university was in Indonesia. In Singapore, I think the very first high-stake exam people experience is PSLE, right? That one is national exam, P6, determine like which school you want to go for secondary. But for Indonesia, I think last time I didn't get stressed during my national exam in primary school, secondary school. I think it was just like quite a normal exam. But the very first high stake to me was this one, right? A bit different, unlike in Singapore. In Singapore, your A level will determine your results for university, right? But for Indonesia, we have national exams at the last year, final year of the senior high school. After that, there is another national exam for university entrance. Okay, this one is an exam that we need to take if we want to get into government universities. Okay, for private university, we can just apply directly. They will have their own exams. So this one you can see this quite challenging because government universities are generally favored for many people in Indonesia, right? Singapore, small population, but Indonesia with 200 over million people. So I think the competition is actually very high for this one. Yeah. So for me, this is my first high-stake exam because like I started preparing for this exam about a year in advance, right? So a bit like PSLE year lah. I started preparing a year in advance. Then I really want to go for this particular university, right? Until at this point in time, I think I was still quite young lah. So until I felt that I don't have backup plan. So if I fail getting into this university, technically it's like doomsday because other uni that I apply, yeah, I don't have the interest in it. Okay, so I was really die preparing for this exam. Was it stressful? I would say yes, because like I came to the point that I don't really pay attention to the national exam in school, right? But I really focus on preparing for these particular exams. Okay, so I have study group, right? I have tuition, okay? Then I study. I buy a lot of materials like partial exams and so on, and then keep doing it. And at some point in time, I think about 4 or 5 months into the exams, I feel quite confident that I prepared quite well for these particular exams, right? But there's one particular moment that actually become like a roller coaster to me, right? What is it? Closer to the exams, a lot of agencies, right, actually offer the time trial, the mock exams, right, the time trial for us. And normally we can sign up, pay like a nominal amount, and then just do it, and then they will simulate, and then tell us whether we are able to get into our choice or not, right? So I sign up because I want to test myself, right? So first time I did, yay, I get it. My score managed to get into my second choice. Well, I was motivated. Okay, the next round, I want to try the exam again. I want to make sure that I get into my first choice, right? Then a week later, I sit for it again. They do it every Sunday. So the next Sunday, I sign up again and then do. And this time around, really, I get into the first choice. Wow, I feel even more confident. I feel like, wow, I'm really on the right track. Now it's still 3 months away. I'm already can pass. So by the time I get the actual exam, I'm sure we'll pass, right? So I signed up again for the following week. And you know what happened? Following week, I sit for it. Suddenly, I fail. Because when I did the exam, suddenly I felt that, I didn't perform as optimal as I was in the first two exams, right? I feel like a lot of frozen moments in my brain, right? Then after the exams, I felt very lousy because I feel very stressed. Suddenly, how come, right? And it's true, for the result, I didn't manage to get into my choices, and I felt very stressed because of that, right? Suddenly, I felt like, what's wrong, right? Because I couldn't figure out what's wrong because I felt that I prepared enough. The past two exams, I passed. How come this one I didn't, right? Then this is the first time my teacher actually told me, hey, you push yourself too much, right? He said that that's not the right way to do it, like you take the exams every week and then like you hope that every exam you pass, then when you take actual exam, you do it. They said that, I think he used analogy like if you are like a machine, if you're like a car, right? You already like overheat your machine, right? So it shouldn't be the right way to do it. Okay, so he told me, okay, I forbid you from taking any mock exam for the next 1 month. If you want to try again, try it after 2 months. Yeah, so for the next 1 month, don't do it. Okay, so I follow his advice. Okay, so I just do the light revision and all. Then I think about 2 months later, I try. When I try, actually, I was quite scared because the failure in my last mock exam actually quite daunting, right? So I felt that, what if my brain frozen again? What if I'm anxious again? What if I couldn't think and then I couldn't pass, right? But thankfully, I managed to overcome that barrier. So it's like when I did the mock exam again, then I managed to pass, right? So I was happy, I was relieved. Then my teacher told me, okay, you relieved, right? Then stop. Don't continue doing another mock exam. Okay, just go for your actual one later on. Okay. Then my teacher actually I'm very thankful to him because like what he did was balancing my expectation as well as my stress, right? Because like while I'm doing it, I was under pressure, and it's true enough. Like 2 days before the national exam, the actual exam, I was suddenly feeling very stressful, right? I feel very anxious. Suddenly I felt like, all these are just, previous one is just time trial, just games, right? I can do it for fun, but this one is really the actual one. What if the previous failure came again, right? Yeah, so I consulted my teacher again. I told him I was very stressed because at first I told my parents and people at home, right, I'm very stressed. But their reply never comfort me at all. They said like, why so stupid feeling so stressed at this point? Don't feel stressed lah. It's not good to feel stressed. I was like, that's not the kind of answer I want, right? I mean, you cannot just tell people, hey, don't be stressed, right? I think there must be something. So I called my teacher. Then my teacher told me, it's okay. I mean, like it's normal for you to feel stressed closer to the actual exam. They said that everyone is also like that. He said that even athletes, when they have to go for their performance, right, big performance, they will feel stressed. So don't worry, okay? And you know what he told me? He told me, hey, for the next 2 days, I know it's an exam time. Don't do any revision. You go and relax. If you can, you go to some outdoor, right? Do a little bit of play, do a little bit of relaxation, and don't do any revision. If you want to do any revision, I allow you to do it in the morning on the second day, but only until 11 a.m., right? After that, don't do any revision. He said you need the calmness, you need the mindfulness, you need the steady mind for you to do your exam properly. So don't load yourself again with revision, because he said that your revision will only 𝐏𝐻𝑒𝑢 your mind, it's not adding on the new information to you, right? So you just relax. So in the end, that's when I chose to go to the temple 1 day before, in the morning. So I asked some of my friends. Then after that, we went out. Oh no! That day I asked my parents. Then my father actually brought me to the temple in the hill. Very nice temple, right? So let me enjoy the moment there. Then after that, I came home. Then it's true. I think after that, I managed to do the exam. I feel a lot calmer. And in the end, I managed to pass lah. I really get into the university. Well, but the roller coaster in the process was very, I would say like, it's really huge because this is the first high-stake exam, right? And I imagine that I do it when I'm already 17, 18 years old. Can you imagine if our kids have to do it when they are 12 years old, right? It's even more stressful, okay? But the second exam that I felt very challenging is actually this part, right? That happens about maybe 4 or 5 years later, because no, actually almost 10 years later, right? Because after my university, 4 years, then I came to Singapore, right? When I came to Singapore, I got scholarship to do my master's in NUS, right? My major was math when I was in uni. So when I went to NUS, I did my master's. I also did master's in mathematics, right? But because I do master's in research in NUS, so part of the commitment of the scholarship is I need to teach, right? I need to teach undergrad student as well. So when I teach, actually I discover, actually I'm more interested in helping students learning mathematics rather than the actual subject itself, right? So I decided to change the course of my direction, right? I want to do teaching, right? So because I want to do teaching, after I finished my master's in NUS, I applied to NIE, right? I applied job in NIE, so I was appointed as research assistant. At the same time, also because I was doing research work, so they actually told me it's better for you to do your PhD in education, right? So I thought it makes sense, right? So because whatever I do for my project, I can do it for my study as well, okay? So I took it up. But life is very uncertain, right? We learn about anicca, right? So that's what happened. I switched job from so-called like doing study in mathematics, which is very exact, into research in social. Because when I switch to education, the research becomes social, right? I don't have any background in social research before, right? But once I get into the program, my supervisor actually passed away. Yeah, my supervisor is actually the principal investigator for my project as well. Yeah, she's still very young. At the time, she was still 36 years old, right? She's still very young. Initially, we had a grand plan, like she wanted to go back to UK for her postdoctoral study. So initially, the plan is I want to do my thesis on comparison between Singapore and UK students in mathematics problem solving, and then she can help me collect data from there. But she passed away, right? When she passed away, because of sickness, we are at the early stage of the project as well as my study, right? So although they found replacement for me, but I think as you all know, in social research, social study, people will have totally different idea, and then they may not agree with the framework that you propose and so on. And I'm very inexperienced. So I was very struggling in doing my study, right? I struggled for about 2 to 3 years. Then in the end, I decided, I think cannot make it. I got to drop my PhD, right? So I think I told my new supervisor, I think I couldn't afford doing the PhD because I really lack a lot of background knowledge, and then I have like no stability, right? So I think I rather dropped it to the master's level again, because as master's level, I don't need to produce something really new and groundbreaking, right? So my supervisor agreed, right? Although like they asked me to think twice, think 3 times, think 4 times, right? But in the end, I decided still, I think I cannot, I know my ability, so I think I should drop it to the master's level. But I thought after I drop to master's level, things will get easier, but actually no. It's not easy. For me to complete the study, actually took a lot of effort, right? Then, because I've already done, in the beginning, I do the same project as my study, right? So I can do both at the same time. But at that point in time, like 3, 4 years later, I'm doing another project. So at that time, I need to really split my time, right? Doing the actual project as my work and also doing my study. So I start to find myself very exhausted because like every Saturday, Sunday, I'll be back to the office, and then I do my study. So I'll be there always like every from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's like every Saturday, Sunday, burn, right? So Monday to Friday, I'm doing my work in the morning. Then after 5 p.m., I start to do my study, right? Then I always go home about 9, 10 p.m. Okay, so in the first few weeks, I think I can sustain that kind of lifestyle, right? But after doing it for 1 to 2 months, I start to feel very exhausted, right? And then I feel like, hey, that's not, I don't want this kind of life, right? In Buddhism, in Dhamma, right, we heard the term nibbida. How many of you are familiar with the term nibbida? Nibbida is the feeling of revulsion, the strong feeling of revulsions, that you don't want that and then you want to turn. And that's what the Buddha experienced when he decided to actually go for pursuing holy life, leaving the palace, right? The strong feeling of nibbida actually came like, this is not my life. This is not the kind of thing I want to pursue in life, right? So actually, I experienced a smaller version of it when I was doing this thesis. Yeah. But I know I can't run away from it, despite how terrible the experience is, right? So I got to develop my resilience, find a way to manage it, and finally I managed to complete my thesis and submit it. Well, at that time I feel a lot of freedom. I feel like, wow, suddenly a lot of burden actually dropped. But that happiness only lasts for 2 months, because 2 months later, I got results from my examiners, and this is what I get on the right. Fail, 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 with a lot of harsh comments from the examiners. Yeah, because I think the examiners felt that you don't know the ground and then you argue about this and that. That's not valid, right? So they give me about 4 months to actually redo my thesis and submit it again. Well, at that time, I feel like I don't want the degree already. You just take it away, lah. I want my life back, right? But I can't. I think I can't run away from this dukkha, right? I can't run away from this terrible state. I got to pursue it. I got to continue. Yeah. So in the end, thankfully, I got a very caring supervisor. She also encouraged me. Yeah, just bite the bullet, lah. She said, just take it, because like it's the fact that you have very limited interpretation, right? Then she told me, why don't you approach your examiners, have a chat with them, and then find out from them what could be a way to move forward. I felt like, wow, I still couldn't erase, the anger in my heart when I see the harsh comment that my examiner put. And now you ask me to actually talk to the examiners, right? I need to humble myself. So, but I think I felt that my supervisor had good point. So I decided, okay, let's just do it. Okay, so I arranged an appointment with my examiners. Yeah, so she was very nice. Actually, she was a very kind person, right? So we met up for lunch. Then after that, she told me her honest opinion about what she wrote in the feedback to me, right? So I started to see, right, when I just see the feedback on the written one, I felt that the feedback was very harsh because my ego still very domineering, right? But when I started talking to her, she explained to me the reason behind. So I started to understand her point of view, and also I can understand what it's like. And I think the language that she used also a bit different from the language when she wrote the feedback, right? Because she told me, she said that I can understand that you have limited view. She said it's not your fault, right? She said it's just about experience. Because she shared with me, last time I was teaching for 15 years first before I went to NIE and then become professor there, right? And then doing her PhD. So she said when she did her PhD, she had a very good understanding of what issue on the ground, and then she's able to do it. But she told me, I have no experience, so it's understandable that you got challenges. But she said that yeah, you just need to persist, to persist, and then do something this way and that way, right? So okay, in the end, I took the advice, I do it, I relook the data, I interpret. In the end, I managed to pass. When she managed to pass, also the nice thing is, okay, it's not pass with the very high mark, definitely not. That one is really barely passed, right? But she put a comment, right, in her final remark when she returned the second report, right? She put a remark that she affirmed my resilience in biting the bullet and then overcome the challenges, right? I think, yeah, so I think that become a closure to that chapter, that I feel, yes, there's a way to do it, and then and I managed to pass the situation. Okay, then the third challenging exam I had, right? I thought the other two was already very challenging. It's my daughter last year. She went for PSLE. Okay, why I say challenging? Because like at first I was quite chill about my daughter because I didn't, actually we didn't put high expectation on her, right? So I think for us, our so-called our purpose for her is just to be happy in school, doing okay, and then yeah, just be it lah. Basically to us, it's like we are not so concerned about you need to score a high PSLE score and so on and get into the top school, right? That wasn't our concern. But things actually changed when my daughter herself actually set high target, right? So when she set high target starting from around April last year, so and initially we were like, oh, okay, we want to support you, right? So we support, right? I think we develop teamwork and so on. I think we study with her together, right? But as we study together, I think we started to get immersed into her goal, right? Her goal become our goal together. Then, then I think when we are in this together, I think the excitement and disappointment also become more real. Like initially we were quite distant to it, but after that become one with them, and then like we experience it. And it's true enough because for her, she was in Dragon Baby. I think you all read in the newspaper, Dragon Baby last year, what happened to the PSLE score, what happened to the competition. It was actually very challenging because I saw my daughter, right, although she scored very well, but I think because of the situation, Dragon Year and so on, so actually she couldn't get into her first choice, like the one that she wanted to get in, right? So when she first got the results, she already knows she cannot get into the first choice. And for us, as parents, right, we also felt, yeah, on one hand, we want to affirm her, but on the other hand, we also can feel her disappointment. And also like, I myself also have my own disappointment, right? So it's a bit hard to manage and balance that, right? But I think the most important one is we also learn from there, right? How to actually turn this into something more productive, right? It's like, yes, you couldn't get the first choice, but this is still good result anyway, right? So let's look into like better options. I mean, option that are suitable for you and so on. Thankfully, I think my daughter is also like quite a resilient person lah. After she was disappointed for a while, but she quickly back to her toes. Then after that, she can brainstorm with us where to go and so on, and then we fight again, right? Then when competition result came out, we know also because of the Dragon Year, we couldn't get into the choice that we want, so go into the next one. A bit disappointed again, but we are still very happy because it's still a good choice anyway, and so on, right? But as we go through up and down like that, I feel like, when I did my own exams, I feel very stressed. But I think when I saw my daughters doing exam, I feel more stressed. And then I feel more anxious when waiting for her results compared to when I was waiting for my own results. What do these experiences actually taught me, right? All these failures, all these processes, be it from myself as well as from my daughter, actually taught me that first, grades are really small parts. Because I think when we manage to pass through the exams, right, when we need to get the results, actually there are a lot of other things that come as an outcomes rather than just the grades. Okay, so we understand that grades is just consequences of multiple causes and conditions. Okay, and also like we realize this is the reality of dukkha, right? It cannot be avoided. In my first one, university exam, I think that one is still a lot of excitement because I want to pursue something. But when I faced failure in my master's education, that one is actually the point that I feel like I want to run away, I want to actually drop it, okay? But I know this dukkha cannot be avoided. I got to embrace it and overcome it, right? Isn't it like what the Buddha also said about our life, right? We cannot run away from dukkha, right? We need to embrace it and we need to overcome it. There's no way that we can avoid it, okay? When I see my daughter doing her PSLE, of course, to her, she may feel excitement like what I did in my when I did my university entrance. But when as a parent, actually, I feel a lot of dukkha there, and I know that this is a system. You cannot run away from it. You just have to pursue it and get it done, right? So that actually teaches me a lot about life, about the reality of dukkha, right? That dukkha cannot be avoided. Okay, but I also realized that through this exam experience, right? we develop a lot of wholesome quality, right? Resilience, right? Wisdom, how to sieve out, the useful and not useful, how to, develop wisdom in managing the situation, making decisions, and also our growth, right? Imagine our life is very smooth sailing. There's no dukkha, so-called, like there, right? Probably our wisdom will not develop that much. Okay. When I went back to Indonesia end of last year, I chat with friends and relatives, right? They share with me because Indonesia actually intended to do something wholesome intent. They want to reduce the stress from children, right? So they said that none of the children can, okay, all children have to be promoted. Okay, they cannot actually, even if they fail the grade, they cannot be left in that level, so they must be promoted. It's a good intent, right? But I think it generates a lot of repercussion because like a lot of kids took it for granted. They felt that, oh, even if I don't do well, I can still be promoted, so I don't need to study that hard lah. Then I think there are also like the domino effect because like once you pass one grade and then move to another level, then you are not actually be ready for that. Then you already accumulate some so-called like some gaps from the previous grade, right? Then because you are promoted, they actually suffer a lot more. Yeah, all the more like it's been running for a few years. So when they are already like closer to the national exam, they are really not ready. Okay, so if life is so smooth sailing and then like there's no so-called like there is no barrier, there's no restriction, there's no challenges, I think we can't develop this quality. In fact, we can be trapped into the false illusion that everything is fine, but actually we know that it's not fine, right? So we need that dukkha. Then with my daughter, I realized we developed the good teamwork and friendship, right? Because interestingly that we realized the PSLE actually bonded the parents and the children a lot. Yeah, despite our stress and then like dukkha and all, actually we realized that, hey, we developed things together. Then like I think we are doing things together is a different sense. Then even now that she's already in Sec 1, I think we can still talk about it, and then the way we see her study in Sec 1 also like quite different because of the bonding that we generated from last year, right? So that also remind me on the importance of the kalyamamittas here, that we are actually on the same path. We are doing together, we support each other development, right? I believe my role as a parent or my experience as a parent facing children doing exam, I'm not the one who take the exams, but I'm on another position that was actually like a complete different pictures of how we develop ourselves through these challenges, okay? Yeah, so the big question is, this is one that suddenly came up after my daughter's PSLE. Do I still want to be reborn as human and take PSLE again? What do you think? Do you want? After going through all these hard exams, right? Imagine when we are reborn as a human again in future. And we are so lucky to be reborn in Singapore, right? Because we always want, we want Singapore, very nice place and so on. But the moment we are reborn in Singapore, we know I got to take PSLE later. I got to take O-level, A-level, and so on, right? Do we want to re-experience it again? Because the reality is, there are challenges of being reborn. Okay? Imagine when you are a baby in this life, right? How much you have recollected from your previous memories. Probably very little, right? Because as a baby, I think our brain is redeveloped from the start again, right? When we are born, I think our brain also have like limited capacity in storing memories. So it is quite normal that we forget everything that we had in our past life, right? Then as a baby, we need to pick up everything from zero, even walking. Now we can walk, we can run, right? We can chase the bus, we can chase MRT. But imagine as a baby, we need to start really from scratch, right? From cannot get up from the bed, right? Until you can roll, then you can stand, slowly walk, and so on. So that one has to go through again. So if all these motoric skills have to go through again, same thing as our education, right? And also imagine, as a baby, what are we capable of? 99% of our life is actually decision made by other people. It can be good or bad decision, Okay, I'll give you one example. This happened to my cousin when my cousin was 1 year or less than 1 year old, when she was still a baby. So it was a cold evening, right? Then the mother felt she wants to give something warm to comfort her, right? So the mother actually gave her honey, because honey is when you put in the warm water, and then like it is very nice to drink, and also like help to soothe our body lah. For adults, yes, but for baby, can you imagine what happened? Yeah, I think in every if you now go and buy honey, right, they will put in the label that this is not for a baby under 1 year old, right? Because under 1 year old, they don't have the strong immunity to actually handle certain elements of the honey, right? So what happened to her is like she fell sick immediately. She got rashes and then like fever and so on, because it became like the immune system reaction, right? But I think the parents didn't know, and then the parents didn't have ill intent. In fact, the parents have good intent, right? Want to comfort the baby. But again, wisdom, part of the wisdom is also knowledge. Sometimes we don't have the knowledge to make decision. Yeah, so it's a bit scary, right? Because sometimes, like for example, vaccine also, like how much vaccine we want to give to our children. Yeah, because some people may be allergic to certain types, certain medication and so on. So again, we need to do our homework lah. We need to do our duty, right, to actually study and so on. Then besides that, besides relying on other people's decision, can we assume that we will be reborn in conducive environment? Okay. Are we so sure that when we are reborn again, right, we'll be reborn in Singapore, we'll be reborn in a conducive place? What if we are reborn in the war zone, for example? Okay, so really there's no guarantee for that. And if all this already uncertain, right, another question I have is, can we assume that we'll be automatically on the Noble Eightfold Path? Right? Yeah, may not, right? What if we are reborn in a country that there's no Buddhism, for example? Okay, or in a family that is very strong in certain religion, and then like no chance for us to study Dhamma, right? So it's not automatic, right? And also like we need to understand again, back to the previous reflection, the reality of dukkha, right? That the exams are hardships are necessary for us to build wholesome quality and grow. Okay, so in a way, if we have to be reborn again, right, we cannot assume that we just continue what we already have at this moment, what we already developed at this moment, because there are a lot of things we need to pick up from scratch again, from zero again, right? Provided we are in the good environment. Okay, yeah. So that's why actually quite challenging, right? I think if we don't pass in this life spiritually, right, chances of us to be reborn in the in a not conducive place is actually quite high. Okay, so now how to overcome that, right? Actually, if you attended Sister Sylvia sharing last week, she actually mentioned about this sutta, okay, the Mana Padai Sutta, about the agreeable gifts, right? A gist about the sutta is about a householder named Uga, right? Uga from Wesali. In the sutta, he actually was very charitable. He always give offerings to the Buddha, right? When he give offering, he give with all his heart, right? Whatever things that are permissible, then he will actually offer without doubts to the Buddha, right? And what happened is, after he passed away, he's actually reborn in a very high heaven, right? Because actually for Uga, I think Sister Sylvia didn't mention this. For Uga, right, he actually managed to attain the state of Anagami, right, once returner. So he actually reborn in the pure abodes, right, in a very high heaven. Then in the last part of the sutta, he actually went back to visit the Buddha as a deva, right, as a god, right? Visit the Buddha and then like had conversation with the Buddha. He paid respect. Then the Buddha actually asked Uga, right, is this what you wish for? Then Uga replied, yes, this is what I wish for, right? So what does it mean? It entails a lot actually, that Uga actually, every time he make offering to the Buddha, he always make aspiration that he will be reborn in the high heaven. Okay? So he's very focused, he's determined to that, and because of that, he managed to get his wish. and then get into the heaven as a heavenly being, and then like he will get enlightened over there. Okay. Oh, sorry, not once returner. He's a non-returner. So he'll be reborn in this heaven, and then like he will attain enlightenment over there. Okay. So maybe some of you may be wondering, right? Is it okay to have aspiration to be reborn in heaven? Is that considered bhava tanha? I mean, like desire, because like the Buddha mentioned, right? To completely cease the suffering, we need to cease 3 types of tanha, right? First is kama tanha, which is desire for the sense pleasures. Then after that, bhava tanha, right? The desire to be reborn in a certain place. And also like the last one is the vibhava tanha, right? It's like the desire not to be reborn in anywhere, right? So we need to overcome all this. So is it considered bhava tanha to be reborn in the heaven? I would say yes. I would say yes, it's considered bhava tanha. But the thing is, we need to also understand that for us to go to enlightenment, right, it's actually a progressive way. It's not like a suddenly, not suddenly like from the ground floor, we can jump to the 100th floor, right? We need to go staircase one by one, right? Of course, it's very normal for us to wish that we can go to the, for example, 70th staircase, 80th staircase, and so on, right? So because from there, it is easier to go to the 100th staircase. Yeah, so it's very normal for us to have bhava tanha. But we need to have it like so-called wisely, because we don't want the bhava tanha is something that will drag us down. Okay? For example, unwholesome bhava tanha is like, for example, I want to be reborn in heaven. Then in heaven, we just have fun. Then like forget our practice. Then after that, because in heaven, like the sense desire is very strong, right? So after that, we can fall trapped and then being reborn in the low or maybe like even hell. Yeah, if you read the suttas, right? In some cases, Deva who enjoyed his life a lot of for a long time suddenly pass away and then being reborn in hell or being reborn as asura, right? Being reborn in low realm, because like they just consume the past karma, but they don't generate new one, and they fail. So their progress actually like experiencing digression, right? So it can happen. But I think if we develop Eightfold Path wisely, right? Develop it diligently, and then like have balance between sila, samadhi, and panya, right? Then we are able to actually make use of all this very well. Okay? Because the bhava tanha will be able to be relinquished at the end after we are on the 99th step and then go to the 100th step. Okay, but when we are at the 10th floor, 11th floor, it's not possible for us to relinquish at the point in time. We still need to be mindful that we need future life, we need future plan, but hopefully the future plan is the one that also lead into the ultimate happiness. Okay. Yeah, so that's why actually my point today, right? How to pass this challenging exam in life, right? That we don't fail as a practitioner, we don't forget our spiritual practice, we don't have to restart from 0 and go to minus, right? Actually, the answer lies in this, that in whatever practice we do, in our spiritual practice here, we need to take care of these 3 things, these 3 time frame of happiness, right? So happiness in the present life, happiness in the future lives, and ultimate happiness, right? So we shouldn't think like, for example, oh, for now I just want to think about number 1 and number 2, forget about Nibbana. Nibbana is not in my radar. I think cannot, right? You can frame it like, okay, I may need a few more lifetimes to attain Nibbana, right? But I shouldn't put it out of the equations. Yeah, it's still our ultimate goal, right? For example, right, I think last week Sister Sylvia also mentioned one simple aspiration that she said, it is good enough, for example, if we aspire to be reborn into Sita heaven, because to Sita heaven, there is a Bodhisattva Maitreya there, right? So we can be reborn there, then yes, he's our future Buddha, but we don't have to wait until he become a Buddha in human world, then we are reborn as a human. We can go to the Tusita heaven, being there, continue our practice, find him, right? That could be a very noble aspiration as well, right? Yeah. Or Some people just take care of number 1 and number 3, forgot about number 2. So it can also be a missing link, right? Because like they think they can attain Nibbana now, but probably when it fails, it doesn't lead them to somewhere conducive. Okay, so we need to take care of these 3 happiness in balance, okay, in good perspective, and that become, yes, the secret recipe to actually pass this challenging exam. Okay, the best is if we can attain the state of stream winner in this life itself, because as stream winner, we are guaranteed that we'll be enlightened at most within 7 lifetimes, right? And then within 7 lifetimes, we will not be reborn in the lower world. We'll be reborn as human or devas in heavens. So at least we are in the very conducive environment to actually pursue our practice and then attain enlightenment. Okay, yeah, so that could be the answer to how to overcome this most challenging exam in life. Because if not, everything starts from 0, go to minus, and yes, that will be not something that we want to experience. Okay? All right, I think before I end and open up for questions, maybe you can share your reflection a bit here. Okay? What's your learning points from today's sharing, and how do you want to incorporate them in your practice? Yeah, I'll do it concurrently. I think, thank you for the input here. I think this is really nice to learn from each other's, right? Because I think our takeaway also become inspiration for the rest, also input for the rest, right? Yeah, I think some of you mentioned about developing the wholesome quality like perseverance, resilience, happiness above all, practicing well, right? Then sharing goals, okay, is a way to foster bonding. Then it's okay to aspire to be born at certain realm. In fact, we should prepare for it. Okay, face the dukkha, yeah. Keep on learning in life. Be resilient in overcoming challenges. Yes, learn to see beyond the suffering that we face, the harsh comment, problems on the surface, right? Um, yeah, because that one is really the avenue for us to grow. Ajahn Brahm always say that they are all the fertilizers in our life. Okay? Yeah, embrace and overcome dukkha. Really, dukkha is not something to be avoided. So whatever suffering we face is really a way to actually further our growth, right? That's why in other religion, I think some people say that this is temptation, right? This is actually the exams that, I don't know, maybe higher beings give you. Although maybe this may not be a completely, something that we can connect with, but it could be something that is motivating as well, right? Because I think we see them as materials for our learning. Okay. Then yeah, sainthood is the biggest exam. Yeah, if you can, we pass, right? Yeah, some form of craving, but when used wisely can be helpful, right? The bawa tanha just now. Okay. Yeah, take on challenges in life, do your best, don't be too attached, be prepared for final exam in life and get enlightenment. Okay. Yeah, everyone will face dukkha, but we need to overcome it. There will be rainbow after rain. I think that's really nice. Okay. I will close this. Thank you for all your input. Okay, the last star to be awarded today. Yeah, then I will include this in the slides. Okay, I think that's all my sharing for today. If you have any questions.
Right, thank you so much, Brother Louis. Anyone have any question?
I just wonder what is the best future life we should aim for, because I realize that if you are born as a deva, there is not enough dukkha. It's also actually not good for us, because yeah. So, and if we aspire to be born as human again, it has to be the right condition to know Dhamma. So if I'm guessing is that the best, actually, that's the best aspiration. Yeah, and how do we get there? Thank you.
Okay, I think there's no best answer to this. I believe like everyone's stages of everyone's stage on spiritual path are different, right? I think some of us probably will grow more if we are reborn as a human again. Yeah, some of us are quite ready to be reborn as a deva and then being a practicing deva there, right? So I feel there's no one size fit all answer to this. But I think one thing for sure, we need to avoid the rebirth in the lower realms. Yeah, and I think to do that, we need to practice very focused, very hard in this life. So attain the state of stream winning, right? I think aim for that. Because if we become stream winner, I think regardless whether we become human, we become devas, actually all the conditions that we experience will be more conducive, and we are guaranteed to get enlightenment in this short span of life. Okay, like within the span of 7 lives. Yeah, so there's no exact answer whether human or deva. Yeah, but I think avoid the lower realms. Yeah, then how to do that? We need aspirations, right? So I think we need to have a clear frame about the 3 types of happiness, the 3 pathway, right? Definitely we cannot ignore the happiness in the present life, lah, right? That one we need to work on it. We need to work on it. We need to, that one is something that is more real to us, so we have to manage it. Then at the same time also make aspiration for the future life, like where do you want to go to, right? Then also like remember your ultimate goal. Okay, so we don't get stranded in the intermediate. Okay, an analogy for me is like, for example, you want to go to the US, right? But if you take the flight, you need to transit in Japan first, then go to US. Okay, so you need to plan for everything, right? Like over here, you need to plan like how we prepare ourselves, have enough money to buy the tickets, have a way to go to the airport and board the plane. Okay, that's happiness in the present life. Then the transit, we go to the right transit place, right? Because if the plane is diverted, go to somewhere else, and then you will miss the next the actual plane. Then you won't go to your final destination. Yeah, so you need to get to the correct transit place, right? But in the transit place, we need to be mindful as well. Otherwise, we are stranded there. Then we thought that this is the destination, and then we don't board the plane to go to the final one. Yeah, so we need to take care of these 3. Yeah, present life, future life, and ultimate happiness. So your aspirations need to cover these 3 lives. Yeah. Then make aspiration in any good deeds that we do. Every time we practice the Dhamma, we practice Dana, Sila, Bhavana. So we make aspirations that may all these good deeds that we do, right, help us to be on the path to our to my goal, right? Be it goal in this life, goal in the future life, and goal in our ultimate goal, Nibbana. Okay, yeah.
Any more questions?
I think
Maybe
all pass. Oh, yeah.
I ask question.
Okay.
What is ultimate happiness, Brother Luis?
Ultimate happiness is Nibbana, right? Yeah. Free from all dukkha.
Is there any way that we can, live it here and now? Is it like a kind of like practice that whenever we don't feel suffering, we just, realizing that we are actually experiencing Nibbana right here, right now?
Okay, this one quite deep. I think based on my understanding, we can get a glimpse of it, but we still know that that happiness is also still temporary. For example, I think for those of you who meditate, and then like for example, you manage to get into jhana, right? A deep state of samadhi. So you will feel like you don't feel any suffering because like your mind is really focused, and then like you don't get attached to your bodily sensation anymore, right? Suddenly you feel that normally I feel pain here, pain there, then like very tired when I need to rely on my five senses. Suddenly all disappear, and then we only have the mind. We feel like, we are free. We no longer feel suffering. But again, this is just temporary because after that we will be back again. Once we come out from meditation, we'll be back again. We still live in the world of five senses. Then we can have like a very good retreat, but the next day you come back, you still have to work. Yeah, so all these are still temporary. You can get a glimpse of it that will become a motivation and then become like something that, oh, you are on the right direction, you're on the right path, right? But it's not the ultimate yet. Yeah, to attain the ultimate, you really have to abandon a lot of things. Yeah, you really have to let go a lot of things because it's easier said than done when we say that we let go all the 10 fetters. But to relinquish from the 10 fetters, we need not just meditation. We need the wisdom. We need the cultivating good conduct, right? Because we can have good meditation, but come back, our sila is still not perfect. We can still be tempted for cheating. We can still be tempted to lying, right? Yeah, so all these are temporary. But what Ajahn Brahm said is accumulate a lot of experience where you have a glimpse of Nibbana, right? Because when you accumulate, you will be more in tune to it, then you'll get closer and closer to it. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. One more last chance to ask question. Going once. No? All right. Everyone enlightened already.
No, everyone hungry already. Now it's 12 plus. Okay, if not, thank you so much for listening attentively, for taking part, and also we learn from you, from your responses over here. Okay, so may all of us really stay true in our spiritual practice, in our Noble Eightfold Path, and we all can realize the 3 levels of happiness. Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.